My initial reaction on the Chancellor's budget is there's much to commend it. I think it does quite a decent job of outlining the broader economic strategy for the government moving forward. We at Brookson think that it's important the deficit is reduced and we get back to a balanced budget over the course of the Parliament. He seems to be very focused on delivering that. And more generally, stability for the economy is really important in helping them to generate growth. Some of the measures that he set out in terms of trying to stimulate growth, particularly the reduction in corporation tax rates and some of the individual sector announcements, were also really encouraging. So all in all, we were quite encouraged at the macro level by what we heard in the Chancellor's budget. The areas that are positive are indirect in impact, so the general economic stability that's trying to be delivered, the reduction in the budget deficit as we move forward is positive on a macroeconomic level. The stimulus of big and medium-sized businesses with the corporation tax reduction and the help for individual sectors are all encouraging and indirectly should benefit the flexible workforce that work in those particular sectors and for those particular business. There is one aspect that particularly bears mention, which is a negative impact on contractors, and that's the focus around IR35 and more particularly around the recent political embarrassment that was the contractors working for the civil service in high-paid, high-powered positions, and how the government had chosen to respond to that. Within the budget is a proposal for a consultation to effectively put the responsibility for deducting tax and national insurance for contractors who work in particular jobs of control and influence or particular office holder roles in organisations with that end organisation, effectively saying that you can't be a contractor and work in certain roles. We think that's damaging for contracting generally. We also think the legislative approach that's proposed is really counterproductive to what's trying to be done with IR35 and genuinely shows again once more the government don't understand the flexible workforce more generally and certainly don't understand the individual populations of worker within it. This is the wrong measure at the wrong time for the flexible workforce in our view. No, I don't think the budget has given any significance to the flexible workforce whatsoever. If you look at some of the pretty impressive shows of support for certain sectors of industry, certain types of business, certain sectors of activity, to leave out the flexible workforce completely in terms of the positive measures and the encouragements provided, and even the rhetoric talked of, shows how little this government recognise the value of that workforce. And again, as we've said before, we'd argue that it's failing to see the value of that at its peril. If it's not careful, it will actually actively damage this workforce, and it's a real competitive edge within the market generally and in the economy generally that we need to protect and develop. Yeah, there were a couple of surprises in the budget. I think the corporation tax was a pleasant surprise. The reduction further for big companies. As providers of services to contractors, we are all for stimulating growth. That's what ultimately will deliver the right environment for the UK economy generally and for our customers in particular. So that was a pleasant surprise. I think the focus on some of the industries and the individual bits of stimulus for those were also a little bit of a surprise, I guess, in terms of the range of that. The other obvious surprise, just to say, again, the similar themed message is there's not enough in there in a positive direct impact on contracting, freelancing and self-employment generally. The Chancellor missed the trick again to genuinely stimulate that bit of the flexible workforce.